Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining our webinar. I'm Anushka Mathur and I'll be your host for today's session. On behalf of BM Infoted, I would like to welcome you to this exclusive webinar on data warehousing. And we're really excited to have you with us as we discuss how data warehousing can help and how it functions for a organization. Let me go through the agenda of today's webinar. Before we begin, I'll start with a short introduction about our company, BM Infotrade, in which I'll walk you through our mission, vision, and our value that we bring for our customers. After that, we'll dive into our main topic, for which Ritik sir is there with me, who will be giving the presentation on data warehousing. And finally, we'll wrap up with a small Q&A session where you can share your questions with us. Now, before we get into the topic, let me give you a quick introduction about our company, BM Infotrade. So, BM Infotrade has been in the industry. We have been in the IT industry since 1996. That makes it about like 29 years in the industry. Then we have over this time, we have worked with our enterprise customers across various industries to modernize and secure their infrastructure. We have two main line of businesses, that is volume business and technology business. So for our company, our mission is to be the go-to partner for our customers to really understand their challenges and solve them with the right technology. Our vision is to build strong long-term relationship with our customers by consistently delivering value and innovation. Here's a leadership thought by our director, Dr. Mukul Gupta, and our dedicated sales team work under their leadership. We all work together to bring solutions that truly make a difference for our customers. We are partner with uh, 20 plus OEMs, including Microsoft, Oracle. Introducing the line of businesses that we work in, as I told you, we work in two line of businesses: technology and volume. In volume business, we provide IT hardware like laptops, desktop, server, storage, firewall, networking equipment, security devices, and many more. In technology business, we focus on four key areas. IT infra, we have cloud and data center. Then we have data and AI, cybersecurity, and digitalization. We across these areas we work with more than 40 plus OEMs, including Microsoft, AWS, Google Cloud, HP, Dell, Lenovo, Cisco, and many more. We have also built a center of excellence where our customers can see live demos of our implemented solutions and see the real time ROI benefits before deploying it to their own environment. To get into the technology, our key technologies are cloud technology, in which we provide end to end planning, architecture design, deployment, optimization, and cost saving across Azure, AWS, and GCP. In data and AI, we have specialized team in analytics, engineering, and data science, building everything from pipeline to Power BI dashboard and AI driven applications. In cybersecurity, we operate a 24/7 SOC with ethical hackers and security professionals implementing SIM tools and protecting enterprises at scale. In digitalization and automation, we work on low code, no code solution with Microsoft Power Apps. Okay, that was about it from my side. Now I would like Ditik sir to take over and move on to our main topic, data warehouse.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Nishka. Hello everyone. My name is Ritik Sharma and I'm working as a senior data analyst in BM Infotrade Private Limited. I have 2.5 years of experience in data analytics as well as data engineer. With me, I have my colleague Pankaj and Rohit, and together we will walk you through today agenda. Our agenda for today is to give you a brief explanation of data warehouse, data lakehouse concepts, and showcase different architecture diagram on top of the Azure. Okay. So table of the content, the very first is the key elements of data warehouse and real-time analytics. The second is the Azure analytics components. The third is the core concepts of the data warehouse. And the fourth is architecture diagrams. The fifth is Azure pricing models. And the last one is the challenges and the outcomes. So this is our elements of data warehouse. On this slide, we have the four main elements of data warehouse. The first, data ingestion and processing. The second, data analytics data store. The third, analytics data model. And the last one is data visualization. In data ingestion and processing, this is the very first step where data comes from different sources like the databases, files, applications. The data is collected, clean, and prepared for storage. The second is analytics data store. After processing the data is stored in the central storage like the data warehouse. This makes it easier to manage and access. The third is analytical data model. Here, the data is arranged into structured way, the facts and the dimensions so that we can analyze it properly. The last is data visualization. The final layer and the final goal, the prepared data is shown in the dashboards, which is present, which is showing using the Power BI. It keep business users to see trends, patterns, and make decisions. Now, the second, elements of real time analytics. So this slide show the four main elements of real time analytics. The first one is event generation. The second one is streaming source. The third one is data processing, and the last is data sync. uh, Event generation, the event generation includes data is generated from different sources like the mobile app, sensors, transitionals or devices. The streaming sources capture that event. The streaming sources are the tool on the Azure side is the Azure Event Hub, and the in the major market tools are present the like the Azure, like the Kafka and all this. The third one is the data processing. The streaming data is clean, filtered, and analyzed instantly to find useful insights. And in Azure, there is two major tools to process these streaming data. The first one is the Azure Analytics Service. The second is the Databricks, Azure Databricks. The last, and the fourth sync. Finally, when the data is processed, now we have to store the data in the database before it goes data into a Power BI desktop. So this is the last step of this real-time analytics architecture. Now move to the Azure Azure Analytics components. So there are several Azure components. The first one is Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory is basically used for the data ingestion process. Azure Data Factory to ostrich and automate the ingestion of data from various sources like the ERP, CRMs, Excel files, JSON, and many more sources. Data Factory can also transform and move data from one storage to another storage. And the second, we have the data storage, which is basically Azure Data Lake on top of the Azure. It will basically store your raw and processed data in Azure Data Lake. This is scalable and cost effective, and solution is ideal for the achievable purpose and handle large volume of structure plus unstructured data. The third one to component is the Azure Databricks, which is used for the data processing. processing and transformation your data using Azure Databricks. This managed Apache Spark based analytics platform provide the power and the flexibility to perform complex data transformation and handle complex analytics tasks. After that, after that, we have the scalability and performance, which is basically top on the Azure Snaps Analytics. As your data volume grow, you can leverage Azure Snaps, which is basically formally data warehouse to handle large amount of data. And it offered advanced analytics capabilities and handle complex query on massive data set because it is work on the massive parallel processing. And after that, we have the Azure Postgres. This is fully managed relational databases service for the Postgres SQL, providing scalability, security, and high availability. It support advanced analytics integration with Azure services and handle both the transitional and the analytics workloads. After and the final, we have the data reporting and the visualization, which we do on the Power BI. We create interactive, insightful reports for our client using the Power BI. So Power BI is basically directly connected to the Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Bricks, or as well as the Azure Snaps. Power BI is rich visualization capability which help you to present data effectively. Okay. So, Azure Data Lake Analytics. So, Azure Data Lake Analytics lets you focus on writing, running, managing jobs rather than operating distributed infrastructure. Instead of deploying, configuring, and tuning hardware, you write queries on transform your data and extract valuable insight. So, this is the place where we first store our data after ingesting, after extracting data from the multiple sources. This is a place where we first store our data. Then we move data from here to the data warehouse and somewhere else. So these are the two types basically, Azure Data Lake Gen 1 and the Azure Data Lake Gen 2. So in our case for the analytics, which is called, we are using the Azure Data Lake Gen 2, which is basically also a cost optimized. Then we have the Azure Data Factory. In Azure Data Factory, we have the basically we ingest, we have control flow, data flow, which is used basically to transform the data, and we schedule the pipelines using the scheduling, and finally we monitor that pipelines using the monitor tab. We have the components of Azure Data Factory like the pipelines, like activities, data flow, data set, link services, triggers. These are the components of the Azure Data Factory. Then we have the Azure Databricks. Databricks is a unified sets of tool for handling and deploying, sharing, and maintaining enterprise-grade data solution at scale. Databricks Lakehouse platform integrates with cloud storage and secure in your cloud account and manages the deploy infrastructure on your behalf. So this is Databricks is used we are in architecture to perform the complex transformation, or we give the shape of the data using the Databricks. uh, this is a major, this is a very important tool in our architecture because it will have the distributed file system which perform transformation on the data. Then we have the concept of data warehouse. So many people are basically confusing between the data warehouse, data lake, and the lake house. So in 90s, 80s, we have the data warehouse. So data warehouse is basically a centralized repository for structured, curated data, optimized for analytics and reporting business intelligence. It stores historical and aggregated data for fast query and insight. Some key points of the data warehouse is it only store the structured data. It uses a schema on write. It's optimized for the SQL query and the BI reporting. It's ideal for the business dashboards, KPIs, and trend analytics. And example of data warehouse on the Azure side is the Azure Snaps. And in the right corner, you can see the flow of these data warehouse. First, we have the sources like the ERP, CRMs. Then we do the ETL process. We do ETL process and then take data from multiple sources and store it in the staging area, which is basically top of the Azure data lake. Then on the staging area, then we perform transformation and move into a data warehouse, which is top of the Azure Snaps, and there we have the facts and dimensions table. Then we connect that to the Power BI or reporting layer, which is basically our reporting layer. Then, what is data lake? Data lake is a storage repository for all type of data, structure, unstructured, and semi-structured. It is optimized for storage and processing rather than immediate analytics. Key points: it can store the raw data, unprocessed data, logs, JSON, images, IoT data, any kind of data, and uses a schema on read. Basically, it is not depending on the schema whether the your data is the structure, unstructured, semi-structured. It will store, and it is also cost effective for the large amount of data. And in our case, we are using the Azure Data Lake for this process. Now, the final, what is Lakehouse? So, Lakehouse is basically a combine of the feature of the data lake plus the data warehouse. It allows storing the raw and structured data in the same platform, supporting both BI and ML. So, Lakehouse is a implementation on the top of the Azure Data Lake using the data bricks, which allow us to store the semi-structured data, structured data, unstructured data. Some key points of the lakehouse is store raw and curated data together, support asset transformations like the warehouse on top of the data lake. And third, schema can be applied on the right on the read part, and this is the ideal solution for the enterprise. This this tool is used to make the data lakehouse basically. So which we are using currently Databricks. Using Databricks, we make the Delta Lake on top of the Azure Data Lake. Then we have the one concept which is basically Medallion architecture. So Medallion architecture have the three major layers, three layers. The first layer is the bronze layer. The second layer is the silver layer, and the last layer is the gold layer. The bronze layer, in bronze layer we basically store the raw data which we collected from the different sources. We directly store it as it is in the up bronze layer. Then we move that data from bronze to silver. Before that we perform some transformation like the like we have joined the two tables, remove some blanks and all this transformation. Then we move that clean data to the silver layer where it is accessible by the our data engineers as our data analytics as well as data scientists. Then we perform some more transformation and the we like the aggregate some tables and the business ready data. Then we move that data into a gold layer. Then this gold layer is all accessible by the data analytics, data analyst, data scientist, which they are using in their tasks to present in the Power BI or they can use in the model training or testing purposes. After this, when we create data warehouse, so we create data marts inside the data warehouse. Now, what is data marts? Data marts is basically a subset of data warehouses which focusing on the specific business domain. It's mean it's mean that the all the department have their isolated data from the each other. We maintain a master data mart that store dimensional tables like the master table, like the customers, items, and all this table. And then we made the other marts like the for the fact table, like this one mart is the for the sales, one month is for the finance, one month is for the purchase. So this all data are isolated from each other, and we it is secure because when we give two access to a particular one department, when then we directly assign to a one data mart directly to that user rather than giving a whole access to the data warehouse. After that, we have some architecture diagrams which will show you the basic to advanced architecture and the small to large enterprise company architecture diagrams. So the first diagram is basic architecture, in which we are collecting data. You can see on the left side there's multiple sources like the Salesforce, Oracle, Business Central, SAP, and others like the Excel, CSV, and Parquet, other sources. Then we extract all the data using the Azure Data Factory. From that, then we store that data. Before moving to the data warehouse, first we store that data into a ADLS, which is top on the Azure. Then we again take that data from ADLS and perform some transformation on top of the data using the Azure data flow. Then finally, we sync that data into a data warehouse, which is basically which is basically on the Azure Snaps or the Azure Postgres. After that, we connect that data warehouse to the our end final tool, which is for the reporting, which is Power BI. Then we do the reporting and all these things, visualization. This is our basic architecture diagram for the data warehouse. After that, we have second modern architecture diagram, in which we have the multiple sources on the left corner like the Salesforce, Oracle, NetSuite, Business Central, SAP, and many more. And then we take data again from the using the Azure Data Factory. Then we move that data into a ADLS. Now we have the three layer. The first layer is a bronze, which store the raw data. Then we perform some transformation on top of the data. Then we move that data into a silver. Then we perform some aggregations and all these things. Then we move that data into a gold layer. After gold layer, we move that gold layer data to the data warehouse, where we store that data as I told previously, as a data marts. Then we connect that data warehouse to the reporting and the visualization tool, which is Power BI, and we make the dashboards. So this is basically our second modern architecture diagram, which includes the Medallion architecture as well. And it is also cost effective because it is using the minimal Azure resources. Now, the enterprise architecture. So in this architecture, we have on the left side, we have the multiple sources as same as previous. We are again using the Azure Data Factory for the moving the data into ADLS. Then we use Azure Databricks to make the bronze, silver, and gold layer, which is basically a delta lake. Now the delta lake is different from the previous architecture. Previous architecture, we only make the layers, which is bronze, silver, and gold, which is basically which may be a parquet or the CSV or the any other kind of file sources. But here we are make the delta lake. So we have the delta files, like delta files is basically parquet and the delta log files, which supports the asset transformations and all these things. We in this architecture we make the delta lake, which have the three layer again. The first is bronze, the second is the silver, and the last one is the gold. Then after this, we move that gold layer data to the Azure SQL, SQL compute resources, which will directly connect to a Power BI, and we will do the reporting and all this. And we also have the another cluster which is general cluster compute with the photons, which is basically used for the machine learning purposes. If we have to train the model and deploy the model on top of the Azure Databricks. So this is where we can deploy and train the model on top of the Azure Databricks. Then final, we have the advanced enterprise architecture. So this includes two types of source basically. First is the same as the previous, which is batch sources, which gives the data in the batch form, and the second is the streaming sources, which is basically Kafka, Event Hub, all this. So ADF is not capable to control or extract data from the streaming sources. So for the batch sources, we use the ADF to take data from that sources and store in the staging area first, which is basically again ADLS, Azure Data Lake Gen 2. And for the streaming data, we use the Azure Data Factory. Then we make Matillion architecture on top of the ADLS, which again are divided in three different layers. First one is bronze, second is the silver, and the last one is the gold. In bronze, we store the raw data. In silver, we have the curated and clean data. And in the gold, we have the aggregated data. Then we move that aggregated data into our data warehouse, which is basically on the Azure Postgres or the Azure Snaps. And then we connect that data warehouse not directly to the Power BI or the reporting tool. First, we connect that data warehouse to the analysis service. This analysis service is used to make the complex data model on the Azure side rather than making calculations like DAX calculation, all this into Power BI side. We made this all types of calculation and modeling things in the analysis services part. Then we finally connect analysis services to Power BI. And below you can also see we connect that gold and silver layer to the Azure ML for the Azure data like the model training and the testing and deployment purposes as well. So these four are the architecture diagram, which is basically depend upon the company size and the company requirements. So it will cover the small to enterprise level companies. Now we have the pricing models of ADF, which is pricing model of ADF, like there's our data factory pipeline orchestrations and executions, their type and their Azure integration types. These are the basic pricing tags of data factory. These are the Databricks GPU rates pricings, which is workloads of streamings, data workload streaming, data warehousing charges, and data science and machine learning charges is generative AI platform computes. Then we have the Azure Databricks pricing, which is using on the Azure side. So this is some standard tier prices and the premium tier prices, and it's depend on the workloads, which workload we are choosing on the Azure, and some pre-purchase DBCU costing with the discounted rate. These are the Azure instance prices. Okay, so the final slide over is challenges and the outcome. The challenges of the major industries that their data is not centralized. They have the multiple sources. Suppose they have to make the any kind of tool which they have to use the sales data, which is present on the Salesforce, and the ERP and the finance data which are present on the ERP, and the HR data which is present on the HR1 or the other tools, and the some other data which is present on the Excel. So they have to connect that software to the all these sources. And they have to give the directly access to the that sources to the that application. So what we suggest, our solution is to make the data warehouse, data lake. So they don't have to connect their application directly to the that sources. They directly connect on the single source of truth, which is basically a data warehouse. Okay, so choosing analytics solution on Azure was an easy decision. Single platform with integrated security and compliance, single solution for data integration, data warehouses, and big data analytics with Synapse with Azure Databricks. Azure API management is streamlined, work across cross, hybrid, and multi-cloud environments since from data had to be retained on premises. The result of this, they have saved the 70% of costs, increase agility, increase productivity across the industry, accelerated digital transformation, reduce compliance issue. Okay, so these are the some certification which BM have. We have the Azure Data Fundamentals certification, AI Fundamentals, Azure Enterprise Data Analytics certificates, DevOps certificates, Data Administrator certificates, and the Data Engineer as well certificates. Okay, so this all from our side. So if anyone have any questions, so you are free to ask.
Thank you so much, Ritik sir. Now we'll begin with the quick Q&A round. If anyone has any question, you can ask him. Anyone, Vasid? So I think there's no doubt. I think we can just end the webinar here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Nishka. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar.